welcome to our new machines. These are the Mindray TE7s, which are going to replace our Mindray M7s, which is going to give you a quick orientation to the machine. So first off, just wanted to show you the power cord, which is down here at the base of the machine. It's a retractable cord, and so sometimes you might actually need to pull it out and then just kind of hook it around here to get a little better traction, and then you can plug it in. All right, and then when you pull out, it'll retract back in. The next thing to remember is the power button, which is actually on the bottom right in the back here. It's this button right here. Just press this. It'll take about 20 seconds or so to boot up, and once it's booted up, it'll be onto this screen. Okay. From here, it's actually fairly similar to our M7s with all the menu options here on the left side of the screen at the bottom. You'll remember that the first thing you do is you put in the order and epoch for the study that you want. For example, an ED performed IV ultrasound. All right, you'll then we would come back to the machine here. Usually click patient to start. Remember, you do not want to do any manual entry of information. Everything should be done off of a work list. Excuse me, sorry. We just need to end this exam. All right, so if the work list option wasn't highlighted, the previous exam probably wasn't ended, but if it was ended, you should be able to come in here and you should be able to just click on this work list button here. Once you click on it, it'll come into the screen with the exam studies that you could potentially choose from. You'll choose the exam that you had ordered, click on it, and then start your exam. All right, so once we've gone into the work list, chosen our study, we'll come and choose the probe that we want. So you'll see here on the second button here is right probe. We'll click on that. Currently, there's three probes that are hooked in here. There's the hockey stick L14.5 SP, the curvilinear C5.1, and the linear L12.3. We actually do have 4 probes. So if you need to use a probe that isn't hooked up here, it's very simple. You just click this to unlock it, detach this, to put in the probe that you want to put in, and then lock it again. And then you may have to click out and click back in, but it should show up. All right. So I'm going to show you the 4 probes that we have here on the bed. So the 4 probes that each machine will have is a hockey stick probe for doing IV access, a cardiac phased array probe, SP51S, and a linear high frequency probe, mostly for, you can do this for IVs as well as for abscesses, soft tissue, MSK applications, and the C51 curvilinear probe for doing abdominal scanning, fast exams, bladder assessment, etc. All right, so for this example, we're going to choose the L12.3 linear probe. We're going to do an IV with this one. All right, we're going to click on over here. All right, and now we're in. So from here, it's fairly similar to our M7s as far as things that you might want to adjust. So the most important are going to be things like depth and gain. So these are these slider buttons on the left here. I'm going to put a little gel on this probe and scan. All right, now if you wanted to adjust the depth, you can tap to make it deeper, or you can just touch and drag. All right. If you want to adjust the gain, you'll just tap and drag it up and down as well. All right. You sometimes might want to change the focal zone. If we're looking at this vein, this is already pretty good, but if you wanted to move the focal zone, you'd grab that green caret. It just makes that area a little bit easier to see in that field of view. All right. A few other things that you might need to adjust is TGC, which is here, which is the gain in different levels of the field. You can do the auto optimize button, which is this iTouch button. I would encourage not to do it. It's not great on this machine, but it does auto optimize what the machine thinks. You can see in here it's a little bit dark. One thing to remember is to get out of it, you actually have to press and hold it to get out of it. The IQ button here is actually to change the a penetration setting versus a resolution setting versus the general setting. And then the other things that you might want to adjust are potentially doing a left-right flip of the probe marker, which would be under image. You can click left-right. You'll see the marker moves either to the left or to the right. Sometimes you might want to change the dynamic range to make it a little bit more contrasty or less contrasty. And those are the main things. I'll click out of the image here. If you need to do measurements, you press measure here. This can be a little tricky to remember at first, but essentially what you do, I'm going to freeze it here, press measure. You'll touch this, move it to the place you want, let go, tap it once, drag it down, tap it again. All right, and if you want to do a second measurement, you'll drag it over, touch it once, drag it over, and touch it again, all right, to get your measurements. I'm going to unfreeze this again here. Sometimes you might want to do color Doppler, which is over here on the screen right, color Doppler. You can steer the Doppler by pressing these buttons. You can also change the size of the box by clicking one of the corners and dragging it bigger or smaller. You can then move it all around on the screen by just touching in the middle of it. You can once you're in this, you can change the Doppler gain by dragging the gain button. Sometimes you might want to use pulse wave Doppler, which is down here, pulse wave, and then press it again. Okay. M mode is right here. Press M, and then press it again to start your M mode. All right. Once you've got the image that you want, then you obviously want to save your images. So down here at the bottom middle screen, save image is a still image. So you press that. There's an audio feedback that it's saved an image. You could also freeze it. You can scroll to the image that you want and then press save image to be a little bit more fine. You can also save a clip. And we have by pressing this button right here, you'll hear the audio feedback once it's done. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You could also stop it a little early if you want by pressing it again, and you hear that audio feedback that it's stopped. That's saving a video image. And then once you're done, if you want to review your scans, this is different than our M7s. So the images are not on the screen as you're scanning, but you have to click on review, which is this is in the menu button here on the left. We'll click on review, and there's our image, our stills, and our videos. If you want to play the videos, you can just click on it. You just double click on it. Oh, sorry, that's not the video. This is the video, and you can see the video playing. All right. And then once you're finished, you'll then do your very quick report, just like we have been doing in the past. So this one, there's no keyboard on this, so but we've made it easy by using some fast words that you can click on. So you'll click on annotate, and let's say this was an IV. We will click on 22 gauge, usually long IV, usually in the lower arm. If you put 1 attempt versus 2 attempts, we assume it's successful. So we did a 1 attempt successful. If it's unsuccessful, you click here. And then to put your name in, you would click on the keyboard and then just type your last name or your first name and last name. And then don't forget to save that image. All right. And if we review here again, there's our image, videos, and our report. And then once everything is done, you'll click end. Very important to click end exam. That will then end the study and then start auto uploading the images into packs like before. Don't forget to clean the probes as per usual. We use the Oxivir wipes, and then store these images. Store the machine in its usual location. Okay. A quick word about this L123 RCS probe. So this probe actually has some buttons that can control some of the features on the machine as far as like saving images and changing the depth and gain. So the probe marker again is here on the right here, and the button for storing an image and a video is here on this side as well. All right, I'll show you an example of this. So I'll put the probe here on my skin, and there's a picture of the vein. If I press this button once, it'll save a still image. You hear that audio feedback. If you do a long press and hold, 1, 2, 3, it starts saving a video clip. 8 seconds there. And done. There are also some buttons here on the side of on the flat face of the probe, and if you just press this, the up arrow, it'll actually increase the depth. Oh, sorry, decrease the depth. And if I press it, the bottom arrow, it'll increase the depth. You could also do a long press and hold, and it'll change the gain. You see the gain button is increasing slowly. And then if you press it down, it decreases the gain. It's a little awkward to use at first, but it can be something that you could use in a pinch if you have trouble reaching the machine. All right, just a quick word about the hockey stick probe, because there's a unique handedness to this. So we're going to click on the probe here. If we have created two presets, if you're right-handed versus left-handed, if you're right-handed, we call it a chop righty IV. If you're left-handed, use the chop lefty IV. So again, I'm right-handed, so I'm going to click on this one. All right. Again, we usually hold the probe with our non-dominant hand and then do the IV with our dominant hand. So in this particular image, the probe marker is actually the toe of the hockey stick probe. Always. So because I usually hold it it's a little bit easier for me to hold the probe like this as opposed to like this on the patient. We have the probe marker on the screen right to match the my right. So again, when I'm doing the IV, everything should match up and line up. So this is the right side, this is the right side. And when I do, for example, my arm here, again, the artery's in the center. If I want to move it to the left, I just slide it this way. If I want to slide it this way, I just go that way. Yeah. Okay, one last thing that's a little bit quirky sometimes is that you can actually zoom in onto the image by swiping down on the machine, and sometimes this actually happens, and it's hard to figure out how to get out of this. But the way to get out of it actually is just to swipe back up to get back to your menu options.